Ranking all 22 of my credit cards. So I'm not the wealthiest person in the world, but at 33 years old, I'm getting really close to over $200,000 in net worth. I never finished college, had a very high paying job, and it's all been through a mostly service-based business where I built most of my wealth. And looking back on it, it honestly wouldn't be possible without all of the bonuses and cashback I've gotten from credit cards. When I look back and consider what helped me get here, credit cards have reliably added thousands of dollars to my bank account every single year. From their sign-up bonuses, spending multipliers, 0% APR offers, perks, and benefits. But I currently have 22 of them, some of which are much better than others. So in this video, I'm going to rank them all in tiers so you can determine what's actually good, what's worth getting, what's worth canceling, at least in my opinion, and which ones I personally have on the chopping block. But before I get into it, if you're new here or tuning back in, hello there, beautiful people. I'm Nathaniel, tenured professor of the Fat Stacks Academy, where it's our mission to help as many people as possible reach financial freedom by optimizing their money through bank account and credit card bonuses. So if you're up for making some fat stacks, hit that like button and let's get stacking. There's a lot of advice out there telling you to avoid credit cards at all costs. And if we're honest, they really do have a point. Credit card companies are profit-making machines and they literally make billions of dollars off of the American public every year. They try to get you to spend more than you otherwise would, and on that spend, charge you tons of interest because you're not paying off your card every month. Sometimes it's at 20+%. But if you know some of the simple pitfalls and you have good financial habits, you can flip the script and make way more money off of them and pay zero interest. But I've found by having good financial habits, living below my means, and holding a pretty stringent budget, the bonuses, spending multipliers, and perks on credit cards are a no-brainer and have drastically increased the speed at which I'm reaching my financial goals. But there are so many credit cards on the market, there's usually hundreds at any given time, and it's hard to know which ones are ultimately worth applying for, keeping, or just signing up for and then canceling shortly afterwards for the sign-up bonus. So in this video, I thought I'd go over all 22 of my active credit cards, tell you why I got them, how I get the most value out of them, and whether or not I plan on keeping them for a period of time. And the easiest way to do this is to put them all on a tier list. A simple explanation is you have basic letter grades like you would get in school, A, B, C, or D, or F. There are no Fs on this list because I've never actually applied for a card that is failing and didn't get me more value. So A through D, A tier is amazing value, B tier is average and worth getting and in a lot of cases worth keeping over time. C tier is pretty good and gets a good amount of value but not quite as good as B tier. And D tier is for I started making this video and didn't realize I had this one crappy card I'll tell you about in a little bit until I started scripting this video. And then above all of those tiers are a couple of cards that I think are S tier. They are overpowered and everyone should seriously consider getting them because they drastically improve the value you will get out of your financial life. So with all that out of the way, let's get to ranking my 22 credit cards. The first credit card I want to talk to you guys about is the first credit card I ever applied for and was approved, and that is the Discover More card. I got this card in 2011 when I was just 20 years old, right before joining the Air Force. At the time, it had similar benefits to what it has now. It has 5% cashback on rotating quarterly categories. So some months it might be gas, other months it might be grocery stores. And the way it works is for every 3-month block, you have $1,500 worth of spend in those select categories to earn 5% cash back. All of your other purchases will earn you 1% cash back. I didn't have any credit history when I first got this card, and Discover graciously took a big risk on me, even though I was such a dummy at the time. It had a 0% introductory APR, which I thought I was taking advantage of, but actually made a mistake. Just a quick story, I applied for this card, was approved, spent on it for about 15 days, and then was shipped off to basic training when I joined the Air Force. It was midway through training, about 4 or 5 weeks in, we went to the base exchange. If you know, in the military, but it's basically like a little marketplace for whenever you're in the military on base, and my card was declined. I didn't realize at the time that just because there was a 0% offer didn't mean you at least had to make the minimum payment. So I could not buy anything, and that was my only means of purchasing because I was pretty silly at the time. After getting out, I did call customer service, explain the situation. They ended up waiving all the fees and interest associated with it. So they did me a real solid. And for that reason, this card will always hold a special place in my heart, especially since it's my first card and my oldest one. So I do put a charge on it every now and then, even though I don't use it very often. Despite that fiery start and beginning, I very rarely use this card. I maybe put one charge on it every 6 months just to keep it active for my credit profile, and ultimately just don't find a way to get a lot of value out of it at this phase in my life. I'm not the best at keeping up to date with the quarterly categories, and I'm usually working on a more lucrative sign-up bonus. So for me, just because I don't like managing those bonuses, and it's a Discover, not a Visa, it's not accepted in a lot of places, it's going to be an S tier in my heart, but ultimately a C tier on the list as far as value and how I'd recommend it to other people. But it's a really good starter card if you're just getting into the game. All right, the next card I want to talk to you guys about is the Chase Amazon Prime card. This is a sleeper card that I don't see enough people talk about its extra benefits outside of just being an Amazon card. I got this card probably 5-6 years ago just because I was shopping on Amazon and I wasn't really in the credit card game at the time, but I saw, hey, you can get like a $100 gift card and then earn 5% back on all your purchases as a Prime member. So I thought it was a no-brainer. I got the card and it's one of the first cards I ever had and still hold to this day. A super quick rundown. When you sign up for this card, as of right now, you get a $150 Amazon gift card upon approval without even spending anything. You'll get 5% back at Amazon.com, Whole Foods, Amazon Fresh, and pretty much everything in the Bezos verse. 2% on gas and restaurants, 5% back on travel booked through the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal. All of these multipliers at the 5% tier are if you are a Prime member. If you're not, those 5% become 3%. Another really cool thing about this card is there are no foreign transaction fees and there's 0 annual fee. So if you don't have a lot of credit cards yet and you don't have one that you would otherwise use abroad, this is actually a decent one because of the multipliers and the no foreign transaction fees, and is usually a pretty easy one to get approved for as long as you're not above Chase's 524 rule. All that long-term value in just an easy set or forget card that I've been using for years and earning 5% back on all of my Amazon purchases, I'm actually going to put this in the A tier of credit cards. All right, and the next card on the list is the Amazon Business Prime card. And this one is issued by American Express, not Chase. I got this at the very end of 2023 when there was an elevated $200 gift card just for being approved for the card. But the main reason I got it is because as my painting business grew, I started wanting to categorize my transactions that I was getting on Amazon for my business from my personal ones, and having a business card that got me 5% back was a really easy way to still get the same amount of value without having to go through my bookkeeping every single month and re-aggregate all the transactions. It has very similar multipliers, 5% back on Amazon, Whole Foods, and all other things in the Bezos universe, 2% back at restaurants, wireless telephone services, and gas, and 1% back on everything else. Since it's an Amex, you won't be getting that 5% on travel in the Chase portal. Even though this helps me keep my business expenses separate, it is actually kind of annoying even for that purpose the more I've used it. So I get 5% back on all my business purchases, but the only way to redeem those rewards is by covering a charge on the statement of the card. So if I bought paint for $50, I would be able to redeem however many points that is to cover $50 worth, and then that's how it would show up on my statement. The reason why this is like super annoying for accounting purposes is it looks like a refund on my statement, and every time I have to go through with my accountant and say, no, this is actually a rebate, and if I ever do get audited, hopefully I don't, knock on wood, that will be a real pain in the ass to explain that that's actually just a rebate and not a return on merchandise that I use to run my business. So even though it helps me keep the expenses separate, it is a little bit of a pain in the ass from the accounting standpoint. So despite having a lot of the same benefits as the Chase Amazon card, it not getting 5% in the travel portal, and just kind of being annoying to redeem cash back, I'm going to put this in the C tier of my credit cards, but I'm still probably going to hold on to it just to keep my business transactions separate. All right, and my fourth credit card on the list, I could not actually find the physical card, but it is still active, and when I logged into the bank account that is associated with this card, it is still there. They have not closed it, and it is is the First Hawaiian Bank Cash Rewards Business Credit Card. I got this card back in 2018 when I first started my painting/wood refinishing business in Hawaii, and I needed to open a business checking account. The teller told me, hey, you can get this credit card with a $200 sign-up bonus for spending $2,000 in the first 3 months, and it's a card that earns 1.5x cash back. It was an okay pickup at the time because I wasn't in the credit card game super hard back then, and it was a really easy way to categorize my business versus personal expenses and make just a little bit of extra cash. But overall, it's probably one of the weakest business cards you could possibly get. Even though there's no annual fee, getting 1.5x back on your purchases really isn't worth the hard inquiry for just a $200 sign-up bonus, in my opinion. And I haven't made a purchase on it in, I think, over 3 years. Somehow the bank still has not closed it. I don't get a lot of value out of it, and this will be going in the D tier on credit cards. Maybe someday I'll close it or they'll close it on me, but as of right now, it's just open on there. It doesn't really affect my personal credit because it is a business card, so it doesn't really hurt anything. But someday I probably should just close it just in case there was a fraudulent charge that I would miss on it. This card I don't think is available to anyone unless you live in Hawaii, and I don't know why you would get it even if you did live in Hawaii. Like I said again, it's D tier. There's so many other better cards we're going to talk about in a little bit. All right, so this is a really good card for number 5, and it's a really nice palate cleanser after the terrible value we talked about in the last one. This is the US Bank Triple Cash Card, which currently has a really solid standard offer that's even better than what I originally applied for it. For signing up for this card, you get $750 cash back when you spend $4,500 within the first 6 months or so of card membership. It has really strong 3% categories in dining and restaurants and office supply stores that I actually use quite a bit on, and it gets you 1x back on everything else. I got this card because it had a decent sign-up bonus. It also has a 0% introductory APR period that I'm still taking advantage of right now. It makes me a few extra $100 on each business card I apply for. If you want to know a little bit more about that strategy, click on this video over here. And it also has a $100 annual software credit if you subscribe to QuickBooks or FreshBooks, which I do subscribe to QuickBooks, so that saves me $100 a year. So with those good reward multipliers that I will probably get back into if I ever run out of sign-up bonuses and that $100 software credit, I don't see any reason I'll be getting rid of this card because it has 0 annual fee and it gets me a minimum of $100 worth of value on that software credit. And I'm going to put this card in the A tier, an excellent card to consider, especially if you're a small business owner. All right, and the next card I'm going to talk about is such a good card. I actually have 3 of them, and that is the Chase Ink Unlimited. I cannot attach it to the cash phone because all of the numbers are on the front of the card, so you're just going to have to watch Benjamin Franklin here for a while. I wish Chase would start moving their numbers to the back. The Chase Ink Unlimited is Chase's kind of flagship beginner business card. You get 1.5x back on all your purchases, and generally has a very lucrative and generous sign-up bonus, which is why I have more than one of them. The most recent time I got this card was actually a couple months ago with the elevated $900 sign-up bonus. Hopefully it's still active as of the time of this video, and I was able to get it because this year I transitioned my painting business from a sole proprietorship into an LLC S Corp, and I needed new cards and accounts to properly categorize all my transactions and make sure all my books are appropriate. And because of that, I was able to get another sign-up bonus because it was a new business. Right now, I'm using it as my main business card because there's a very generous 0% introductory APR period over the next 12 months, and I have a $15,000 limit, so I'm taking heavy advantage of that. So for the Chase Ink Unlimited, the 3 cards, it's cards 8 through 11, I believe, but this card ultimately is a very simple card in the long run. It doesn't have much to offer. It's just a simple 1.5x cash back. There's a lot of other business cards that are over 2% and have better earning categories. So over the long run, it's not the best, but that 0% introductory offer and that sign-up bonus that they're so generous with throughout the year actually puts this in A tier. If it had a little bit better reward multipliers, it would easily be an S tier card, in my opinion. So, Chase Ink Unlimited, you're going into A tier. All right, and the next 2 cards are in the same family as the Chase Ink Unlimited. That is the Chase Business Cash Card. I also cannot put it on the cashier phone because Chase likes to put all their numbers on the front and the opposite version on the back of the card because they're beveled, but it looks okay. This card, in my opinion, is a little bit more powerful than the Chase Ink Unlimited because of its reward multipliers. It has a very generous sign-up offer. Right now it's $750, but it's essentially broken up over 6 months. So if you don't have a lot of business spend, this is a really good one to go for because you only need to spend about $1,000 a month to hit that sign-up bonus for $750. And it has a really strong 5% cash back category for office supply stores and internet cable and phone providers. So I kind of have my internet just set up automatically on this card for an easy 5%. And sometimes I actually buy gift cards for home improvement stores for my painting business on this card if I want to be getting 5% back at Home Depot or Lowe's when I don't have another sign-up bonus I'm working on. And it also gets 2% cash back at gas stations and restaurants and 1x back on everything else. So this is a card that for the right business is actually S tier in my opinion. So because it also has really good sign-up bonuses, sometimes elevated throughout the year, a 0% introductory APR period, and a lot more interesting spending multipliers, I'm actually going to put this as my first S tier credit card. All right, before we get into the next cards, I just want to give you a friendly reminder. If you are enjoying this content, if you get value out of it, or if you just want to make someone in their early 30s feel good about their life, please hit that subscribe button. We're very close to 2,000 now. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you in advance if you decided to subscribe. All right, and then the next two cards I want to talk about are also the same card, also from Chase, also beveled, so I can't put them on the cash or phone, and it is the Chase Freedom Flex. This card has a very similar structure to the Chase Ink Unlimited, as it earns 1.5x back on all your purchases, but also has some other categories that you can earn quite a bit more on. For example, you can earn 5% back on Chase Travel. You earn 3% back at dining and drugstores, and a flat 1.5x back on all other purchases. I got this card maybe 4 or 5 years ago just because I needed a good regular everyday credit card. This is before I was optimizing a lot of my spending. And it had like a $200 sign-up bonus when you spend $500 in the first 3 months, which is the standard current offer as well if you check the link in the description. But last year, my wife got a Chase Freedom Unlimited because there was a offer for 5% back on groceries and gas on up to $12,000 in the first 12 months of card membership on top of that $200 sign-up bonus. So since this is a $0 annual fee card and it had that extra offer, this was a really easy no-brainer card to give to her, especially my player 2, because she does the grocery shopping, and was a really easy way to earn an additional 80,000 ultimate rewards points or 800 cash back when you factor in the sign-up bonus. And it was a really easy way to earn an additional 60,000 ultimate rewards points on $12,000 in spend over the year until about now or so. And it was a really strong offer at 5% cash back for 12 months or so, and we almost maxed that out. Overall, though, thinking about this card over the long term, I'm going to put it in the C tier because it's just a 1.5x cash back card, and Chase has some other cards that I think are a little bit better. There's a bunch of other issuers that get you 2% cash back. But in your first year, if you're able to get an elevated offer like that 5% one I talked about, it's easily A to S tier for the first year as a consideration. All right, 2 more credit cards that are also the same, also from Chase, also are beveled, so I can't put them on the cash or phone. This is the Chase Freedom, what some people call the Chase Freedom OG card. I have one of these cards and my wife has one of these cards because we got it from product changing it from a Sapphire Preferred at some point in our credit card journey. If you don't know, the Sapphire Preferred lets you get a new sign-up bonus every 48 months. So if the annual fee doesn't make sense for a year, I'll just downgrade it into one of these cards. The reason why we chose the OG Freedom is sometimes wholesale clubs are a 5% rotating quarterly category, and we use it at Costco. This card is a lot like the Freedom Flex, only it does not get you 3x on dining or drugstores, but that isn't a big deal to us because we already get that benefit from our Freedom Unlimited. And the reason why we like having the OG Freedom is because it's a Visa instead of a MasterCard, and it can be accepted at Costco. And with both of those cards, whenever the wholesale club category comes up, we're able to max it out pretty easily because we do a lot of shopping at Costco here in Hawaii. And over that 3 months, that $3,000 at 5% comes in pretty handy. So because you can get a lot of outsized value with those 5% rotating quarterly categories, sometimes it's really cool stuff like PayPal, utilities, groceries, things like that. I'm going to put the Chase Freedom OG card in B tier. And if you have the Chase Freedom Flex, I would put it between B and A tier. One thing to note about this card is you can't apply for this card directly. You have to product change it from one of Chase's other credit cards. All right, so the next card is another card from Chase that fortunately they do not put the numbers on the front, and that is the Chase Sapphire Preferred. We talked a little bit about this when talking about the last card, but this is their flagship travel card. It has some good multipliers and often has very good elevated sign-up bonuses, like when I got this card early in the year for 75,000 ultimate rewards points. Right now, there is actually an elevated offer as of the recording of this video for 60,000 ultimate rewards points or 70,000 if you apply in branch, plus a $300 travel credit. So when you factor that in with the spending, it's around about $1,000 worth of value when you spend $4,000 within the first 3 months, which is a crazy good deal. You get 5x back on travel purchased through the Chase Travel Portal, 2x on all other travel, and 3x back on online grocery and dining purchases. Overall, it's not a great earner, but it is a card to consider having it in your setup because it does give you access to Chase's travel partners where you can get outsized value for your ultimate rewards points. Or if you just want to use their portal, you also get a 25% boost on your points. I actually just used this for a trip recently and it was a nice little set of value. There is unfortunately a $95 annual fee, so it's always worth considering whether or not you close this. And I personally do at least once every 4 years, so I am eligible for a sign-up bonus for the card. Once again, because it's not a great earner, but is worth holding in a lot of people's setups and having really good travel protections, I'm going to put this card in the B tier. All right, the next card I want to talk about is one of my favorite cards that I cannot use very much anymore, and that is the Bilt World Elite Mastercard. This card is the only card on the market that lets you earn points on your rent, and it gets you 1x back for doing that. If you have a high cringe tolerance, I did a full review on this card over here as one of my first videos. But since that video came out, I have purchased a home and no longer have a rent payment and therefore can't get that outsized value with this card. It does also earn you 2x on select travel and 3x on dining. And on the first of the month up to a certain cap, you also get double points on all of your purchases, excluding rent. For the brief 6 months that I had this card while I was renting, I got a ton of travel value out of it. I think my rent was really high, around $3,000 a month, and that was like 18,000 points or something like that. And I got a bunch of free flights, a free Hyatt stay, a ton of value just for paying my rent with this card. And it has 0 annual fee, with no foreign transaction fees and some pretty good travel protections, including auto CDW. So I would highly suggest you check this out. I'm going to put this card in the S tier because of its unique earning abilities and how much value you can get out of the card. And the fact that if you don't want to have an annual fee travel card, this is a really powerful one to hold because there's no foreign transaction fees. You can use it abroad and there's tons of travel protections that would normally be associated with at least a $95 annual fee card. I'm going to be holding on to this in my wallet and praying that maybe someday they will cover mortgages and I can get more value. This card I'm definitely putting in the S tier category. All right, and the next card I want to tell you about is a card I got in December of last year, and that is the American Express Business Platinum card. I got this card after I saw a pre-approval in my Amex app after taking advantage of some other cards I'll talk about later. It was for 190,000 membership rewards points when I spent $15,000 in the first 3 months. I had some tax payments coming up and some big business expenses, so I took full advantage of that. This card has way too many benefits and credits to cover in this video, so I would highly suggest you check them out. I actually did a video on my $2,000 in 2 hours. You can check out my take on it there. But as far as the value I get out of it, there is a $200 biannual Dell credit that I've gotten full value out of for $400 for the year, buying some different tech equipment for this channel. And then most recently, I made $200 on the airline incidental fee credit as well. So I've almost made the effective annual fee on the $695 annual fee just $95. And I also just booked a bunch of flights with a 35% point back, making it about 1.54 cents per point on my Amex points. So I've gotten way more value out of this card, especially with the sign-up bonus, than that initial $695 annual fee. There's also tons of lounge access, so many other bells and whistles and credits that I suggest you look at before applying for this card. It's a very specific use case. Make sure you're getting more value out of it then you are paying in that $695 annual fee because it is hefty. And I'm personally on the fence as to whether it's going to work for me in 2025. But because I'm in the middle of the road and I have gotten outsized value thus far, I'm going to put this card in the B tier. And like I mentioned earlier, check out my more fulfilled review in this video over here. And it also talks about how you can get an elevated offer much beyond the standard 125 to 150,000 membership rewards points like I did back in December. I'm putting this card solidly in the B tier, but for a lot of travelers who can get outsized value, this is easily an S tier card or a D tier card if you're not a traveler, so be very careful and make sure this card fits your situation. Okay, the next card I want to talk to you guys about is the Blue Business Plus card. I got this card midway through the last year because I was in the process of working on my credit for a house and I needed a card that wouldn't pull my personal credit or put another hard inquiry on my account, and Amex had pre-approved me for this card. I managed to get a sign-up bonus for 50,000 membership rewards points when I spent $15,000 over the next 12 months on this card, which is a very good earner on the card. So I actually did a whole video over here on how I effectively made it a 5.6x catch-all card. The quick rundown overall: you get 2x membership rewards points on all purchases up to $50,000, and there's a very generous 0% introductory APR period for the 12 months that you can take advantage of, which I did, and it made me a bunch of extra money. The downsides of this card is it is an Amex, and sometimes it isn't accepted everywhere, like Costco and other places that do not accept American Express, so it's not as universally useful. But other than that, it's a solid 2x catch-all card and a really good one to have to anchor your American Express points because there is $0 annual fee, and if you canceled your platinum or gold or green cards that have annual fees, you can still hold on to your membership rewards points. I'm going to put this one solidly in the B tier of my credit cards. All right, the next one is almost identical to the Blue Business Plus, and that is the Blue Business Cash Card. I got it for similar reasons with a similar welcome offer, only this time it was for cash back instead of membership rewards points. It was for $500 when I spent $12,000 over the first 12 months, and it had a 0% introductory APR period that I am still taking advantage of until it expires at the end of this year. It gets you 2% cash back on everything up to $50,000 in spend, has that 0% introductory APR period for 12 months in your first year. And I ultimately don't like this as much as the Blue Business Plus because of the cashback factor. I personally like membership rewards points more. And the way it redeems is as a statement credit. I really like it when you can just deposit your cash back directly into your checking account, like with Chase's cards. But overall, it's good for a good welcome offer, but wouldn't necessarily be a keeper card for me. And I'm going to put this one solidly in the C tier. All right, and the next card on the list is the Hilton Honors Business Card. This one recently got a revamp, and I got it right after that. This card recently had a revamp, and my wife got it right after that. We got this card for 175,000 Hilton Honors points for spending $8,000 within the first 6 months of card membership. It also has a $60 quarterly credit you can use at Hilton properties. This is a super niche use case, but our 3-year-old, who's about to be 4, loves the swimming pools at a local Hilton, and we use this to get a day pass in on that credit. So on top of that welcome bonus, that's why we kind of use this card. I don't know if I'm going to keep it after the first year because there is a $195 annual fee, so I'm on the fence on this one. But this one is a really nice card if you want to get 5x points on just about everything for your Hilton business spend up to 150,000 Hilton points per year. And you earn 5x back on all of those purchases. And it has a nice welcome offer, and it gives you gold status, which gives you food and beverage credits. Overall, because it doesn't have a lot of other benefits and there's other better Hilton cards, overall, in my opinion, I'm going to put this one solidly in the C tier. All right, and the next card also from Hilton is the Hilton Honors No Annual Fee card. This is just a personal card you can get from Hilton. My wife applied for this a few months ago because there was an elevated offer at the time to earn 70,000 Hilton Honors points plus a very valuable free night certificate when you spend $2,000 in the first 6 months of card membership. We're actually wrapping up that spend bonus right now, and we just like staying at Hilton's. We actually had a staycation recently for our 9-year anniversary nearby, and it was awesome. But it's not something that increases our net worth. It's just kind of a card that we've been using to splurge. There's no annual fee on this card, and it gets you Hilton Silver status. The main con, because it is an American Express, you can't use it at places like Costco. But because there's no annual fee, it gives you Silver status and a nice welcome bonus. If you are someone who likes even traveling to Hilton once per year, it's kind of worth getting and worth keeping, in my opinion. I'm going to put this one solidly in the B tier. Okay, we're on to the last card, and this one is another card from Chase, the Chase Ink Business Preferred. My wife actually applied for it a few months ago, and I do not have it on my person for the purposes of recording this video for that reason, but the numbers are also beveled, so I wouldn't be able to show it anyway. This is a really nice card if you're in it for the sign-up bonus and has some good reward multipliers. It gets you 3x back on your first $150,000 on shipping purchases, advertising purchases, internet cable and phone purchases, and travel, which is really nice. Like the Chase Sapphire Preferred, it gives you access to Chase's transfer partners, and you can get a 25% boost on your points when you book through the travel portal. There's a $95 annual fee, and there is no 0% introductory APR offer, so I value this a bit less because of the annual fee from a cashback perspective. When we got it, there was a $120,000 elevated offer, and that's what I'd recommend going for it. Right now, it's down to like $900 when you spend $8,000 in 3 months, and isn't the best time to go for it. But overall, it is a pretty good welcome offer and gets you a lot of good travel benefits, just like the Chase Sapphire Preferred on a $95 annual fee, and is a good way to get access to Chase's travel side. And I'm going to put this solidly in the B tier. So there you have it. I'll just put the tier list on screen for a couple seconds here while I talk through the outro. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with any of my rankings, and if any of the cards listed in this video fit your lifestyle and goals. There will be links in the description. Some of them are affiliates and can make me some money and support the channel. Thank you in advance so much if you do decide to do that. And as always, please make sure you do your own research and make sure you're getting the best offer possible, whether or not it is my link. Please remember to like the video, to share this far and wide so more people in America can be educated on how credit cards can help them grow a little bit wealthier. And as always, if you want to be reminded of how beautiful you are on each and every upload and learn how to make a new fat stack of cash, hit that subscribe button. Over here in this video, I talk about how I'm making over $6,000 in Q4 2024, and click on this video over here if you're feeling dangerous. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.